This is Pat Soundbites Unplugged, the podcast where all the artists go to tell it as it is. Careers, music, tours, and more. And here's your host, the man that refuses to eat squid, Pat Calamari.
Hey, Pat Calamari here, Pat Soundbites Unplugged podcast for Friday, January 31st, 2020. Hope everybody had a great week and looking forward to a wonderful weekend. Had a great chat today with an extremely talented musician, Mr. Kasim Sulton. Well, world-renowned bass player, as well as a singer, a songwriter, bassist, keyboardist, producer, pretty well known for his years in a wonderful band called Utopia. Todd Rundgren, Roger Powell, Willie Wilcox, and Kasim Sulton. And they were a band to be reckoned with in the 70s. And Kasim talks about how he got the music bug, talk about luck and hard work and timing, how he got into Utopia. Talked about the sound of Utopia. Unless you ask, Roger and Willie more jazz influence compared to Todd and Kasim more pop, which I thought was pretty unique. Kasim also played in numerous rock bands: Joan Jett, Scandal, Hall & Oates, Blue Oyster Cult, Meatloaf. I know we didn't get into the chat too much, but he was a pretty big impact on Bat Out of Hell. I interviewed Todd Rundgren a couple of years ago before I got to see him up in UPAC in Kingston, and he mentioned Kasim on Bat Out of Hell, all recorded at Brownsville Studios up here in Woodstock. Kasim had a hit single, top 40 hit, Set Me Free. He talks about the title and the concept and why it was titled that, which I thought was pretty neat. He talked about his Canadian hit, Don't Break My Heart, and talked about his songwriting. I mean, he's got a songwriting partner and he writes beautiful, beautiful lyrics. I encourage you to go out and buy his album, his CD entitled 3. He shared with us he has a new album coming out this summer. I know he will get that to me, and I definitely fall in love with his tracks on 3. He's a very gifted and talented singer-songwriter and, again, all-around musician. And I love his music, and we'll be playing a lot of tracks on WBXO. Kasim and his band coming to Daryl's on Friday, March the 6th, and there are limited tickets. And he loves playing at Daryl's. I think he said this is his 5th time there, whether he's been there solo or with Todd. So, great chat. A lot of fun. Super cool guy. If you're not in the New York area, please go to his website, check out the dates. 16 shows upcoming, starts at the end of February, and definitely go out and support this extremely talented musician. KasimSulton.com. And buy a t-shirt. Great guy. Okay, as I always end, have a great weekend. Live, love, and laugh a lot, because life is way too short. Here is Mr. Kasim Sulton.
Hi everybody, it's Kasim Sulton, and you are listening to Pat's Soundbites Unplugged podcast.
WBXO Classic Rock Redefined in conjunction with Pat Soundbites Unplugged podcast. I'm super thrilled, a pleasure to be speaking today with world-renowned bass player, singer, songwriter, arranger, producer, multi-instrumentalist, all the way from Staten Island. He does it all, Mr. Kasim Sulton. How are you, my man?
I'm really well, Patrick. Thank you for that amazing introduction. I appreciate it.
Well, certainly, thank you for your time. Kasim and his band, Kasim Sulton, Utopia, will be beginning a 16-show tour, which starts on February 28th at the City Winery in Washington, D.C. And for us locally, he's returning back to Daryl's House Club on Friday, March the 6th. I can report all reserved tables are sold out. Limited tickets are available, so I encourage you to get your tickets. It's going to sell out. Call 845-289-0185 or go to darylshouseclub.com. So, Kasim, I'm watching your wonderful video with Pete, the rescue dog. I know you seem very excited getting on stage and performing at some of these awesome venues like Daryl's.
You know, it's always, I've been playing Daryl's House now. I think it's been like at least the last 5 years, 6 years I've been playing there.
Yeah.
And every year I go out, when I'm not working with other artists, I go out by myself. And Daryl's House is always on the list of places that I play. And it's a great place to be. The food's amazing. Daryl and I go back to the 90s when I was in the band, and I just love it up there. I really, really love it. Pete Moshe, who runs the sound and the audio and the video for the club, is just one of my closest friends. It's just a great night.
Oh my God. I practically live there. I love Pete. I love Angelo. And it's just a home run for us here locally to have that and have great artists like yourself in all the time and playing. And like you said, the food is good, the drinks. I get on stage and introduce some of the artists and say, it doesn't get any better than this of coming here and seeing great entertainment every single night here at Daryl's. Let me start off, Kasim. I'm always interested in hearing how music started, for the artists, or for you growing up in Staten Island. Was any of your family musically inclined? How did that all begin for you?
Well, my dad was a hobbyist. He played a little bit of guitar after dinner on any given evening.
Wow.
On the back porch, we'd sing as a this is just this is Norman Rockwell stuff. We would sit on the back porch of my house that my mom still lives in and sing songs like "On Top of Old Smoky," "Jimmy Crack Corn." I Don't Want to Play in Your Yard. A bunch of old standards.
Yeah.
My dad would kind of pick it out on guitar, and that was my introduction to music, actually.
That's great. That's a great story. So let's fast forward a little bit. How did you get the big break in joining the incredible Todd Rundgren, Roger Powell, and Johnny Willie Wilcox in Utopia, and what was that experience like for you?
Well, that was just a series of happy accidents. It's like most things in life. You have a little bit of talent, and you put yourself out there, and you try to make stuff happen. And then if you have any luck at all, the stars align, something happens, you're in the right place at the right time, which that's exactly how it happened for me. I heard mention that Todd was looking for a bass player. I said I was interested to the right people. They recommended me. I went up and auditioned to Woodstock in April of 1976. Initially, they didn't think that I was the right person for the band.
Really?
Because I just turned 20 years old.
Oh, so they're looking at experience and who is this kid?
Yeah, I had never been on tour before. I'd never made a record before. I'd been in the studio, but I really didn't. I didn't have any kind of real hard-won experience on my side, and they took a chance on me. The rest is history.
Well, you earned it. You worked hard, and you proved yourself that this was the right chance. That is really cool, sir.
I did work hard. I definitely did.
Yeah, when you get that chance, and you said timing. Accident, it just it happens, and when they say, okay kid, we're gonna give you a chance, you're like, really? Okay, of course you're gonna do everything you can. If you don't, well then you're gonna be throwing newspapers in Staten Island or whatever down there.
Yeah.
And mom and dad aren't gonna be too happy. But
no, I think my mom would have been happy because she even to this day says to me, you really should have something to fall back on.
That's cute.
So I kind of take it with a grain of salt, and I love my mom dearly, but whenever she says that, I'm like, Mom, I have a career. I've done okay.
Really? Do you gotta go on tour again? Come on, stay home. I got some good pasta for you. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I hear you. Growing up in the Bronx, I don't have that story, but I had a mother just like that. Trust me. You bet. Everybody's got to be a lawyer or a doctor. Come on, Patrick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You needed to go to college.
Oh, yeah.
You needed to go to college.
So certainly in the 70s, I mean, Utopia, a groundbreaking, say, progressive rock band that later became maybe a little bit more pop rock, but more importantly, I think what was really unique is the fact that all four of you guys were songwriters. You can sing, perform extremely well. And I don't know, Kasim, I mean, not many bands, past or present, really all have that incredible music skill set. I mean, a true rarity, no?
I don't know how rare it is. Any band worth its salt, the members, everybody contributes their own particular flavor to what the overall outcome is, and I look at bands that my friends are in and my peers are in, and I mean, for the most part, everybody has their own thing that they bring to the table. In Utopia, Roger and Willie were big jazz heads. They love jazz music, and they brought these kind of like kooky chord changes to a lot of the songs, and that music sense of jazz records. Todd and I were more on the pop side. Maybe Todd was a little bit more progressive, but we wrote pop songs, and that's how. And so you put everything together in a big pot and stir it up, and whatever comes out is the music of the band,
But that's great. I mean, all the different influences, like you said, you put it all in a blender, and boom, you get the musical sound of the great Utopia. Speaking of songwriting, you wrote an awesome song, "Set Me Free," off the Adventures in Utopia album, which is noted as Utopia's only top 40 hit in the U.S., which amazes me every time I think about that. What's the story behind this song, Kasim?
When I first joined the band, we signed a record deal with Bearsville Records. Everybody was signed as collectively as a band and individually as solo artists.
Wow! Everybody
in the band, Roger, Willie, myself, and Todd had a solo record deal. Of course, Todd would have a solo record deal, but part of the terms of the contract was that I got 100 hours recording studio time free per year.
Wow.
In which to work on my demos and stuff like that. So that first year, right after I guess it was 1977, for a year and a half, I spent in the studio working on demos for what I had hoped would become my first solo record. When I brought the material that I was working on to Albert Grossman, who was the president of the record label, he listened to it and he said, you're just not ready yet. You need a little bit more time, a little bit more experience. You need to hone your craft a little bit more. Keep working. And at 20, I guess I was about 22 or 23 years old. At that time, I was just full of piss and vinegar, and I just wanted my way and wanted to do a record then. I did not want to wait, and I told him that I wanted off the label. I wanted to be able to pursue getting a record deal from another record label if he didn't want to do it. And at that point it becomes business. And he said, okay, you can leave. He said, but it'll cost you this amount of money and points on your next record and or whatever record you decide to make. And I was absolutely flabbergasted that I had to basically pay
him
to get out of a record contract that I never did anything on. But again, that's just how business works. And so I wrote Set Me Free.
Great story. And thus, there we go. See ya, pal. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
And to be perfectly honest and fair, Albert was right. I needed more time. I needed to hone my craft a little bit more. I was a little bit too green, too wet behind the ears to make the kind of record that I really wanted to make. I needed a little bit more life experience before that happened for me personally. So while I begrudged Albert Grossman for not allowing me to make a record on Bearsville with that original contract, he was correct in his observation that I needed a little bit more time.
But you did have to have a smile on your face when your song is climbing the charts, going, "Whew, okay."
Oh, that was a perfect example of vindication.
There you go. And then also I see as a solo artist, you hit the Canadian top 40 charts in '82 with "Don't Break My Heart," which is cool.
Yeah, that was definitely surprising. Unfortunately, I never got around to touring in Canada. I would have loved to because I love Canada. But I had a top 40 hit in Canada. How do you like that?
Yeah, hey, whatever works, right? Whatever pays the bills.
Yeah.
So I know, Utopia, there's the breakup and, this and that. And I saw that you play with different bands, Joan Jett, The New Cars, Meatloaf, Scandal, Hall & Oates, Blue Oyster Cult, and all their others. Would you say, Kasim, having worked with all these amazing artists during your time, your career, has helped in your path today as a solo artist? I mean, more polished, and you can network off and pick up the phone and call, and what do you think?
I am so lucky to have worked with such a vast, a wide genre of artists. I'm really, really fortunate to have done records for people as diverse as, from Joan Jett to Celine Dion.
Wow.
There's a lot of musicians can say that, that I played on this record, I played on that record, I played on this record, I played on that record. Maybe one musician says, yeah, I played on a Weezer record, and then the next day I was in the studio with Barbra Streisand. That's a testament to your ability to be a contributor on any level, and so playing with Joan was I loved playing with Joan Jett. That was a real treat for me. And then right from Joan Jett, I went to Hall & Oates.
Okay.
And I spent the next 3 years after I left Joan. I spent 3 years playing with Daryl and John, and those are pretty much opposite ends of the spectrum music.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I kind of fit well into both bands. So I'm very proud of the fact that I have the ability to do that, to be able to do that. It's just that's just it puts a smile on my face.
Yeah, it's special. It takes a lot of talent to switch from genres, from a hard rock or a rock to a more bluesy Hall & Oates, and then you can jump into, Bat Out of Hell, or then you go into Blue Oyster Cult, Don't Fear the Reaper. So it's not everybody can do that. Some people are just, I'm a heavy metal guy, and that's it. So good for you. Now we go into today, listening from your tracks off your album, your CD3. Oh my goodness, Cass, beautifully written, easy listening. I close my eyes listening to the tracks, and I just envisioned some of your tracks, and I mean this, I'm not BSing you, seem like it could be soundtracks for, movies about love. I mean, Fell in Love for the Last Time, beautiful lyrics, Watching the World Go By. I mean, Mark Rivera, soprano sax, just adds that right touch to the song. I mean, the clocks all stop. I'm a lyric guy. Time is eternal, but time goes slow when you're waiting for the world to change. Wow.
Yeah, well, I work with a really, really great songwriter, lyricist, Phil Thornley, who has a record out himself called Astral Drive.
Okay.
And Phil and I write very well together. I'm very comfortable working with him. a lot of times I bring in a musical idea, and Phil takes the reins and comes up with the lyrical ideas, and then between the two of us we polish it off. He is just one of the most brilliant songwriters that I've ever worked with, and we just finished a new record that I will be releasing later this year.
Yeah.
So as good as 3 was and is, and Phil, I think we co-wrote about 4 or 5 songs on 3. This new record, we've co-written all 10 songs, and it's some of the best stuff that I've ever done. Wow. So I'm very, very excited about it. If you like 3, you'll love this next record.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really want to listen to more of 3. I mean, 15 minutes, I got that thought of everybody's got 50, the saying, 15 minutes of, what is it, 15 seconds or 15 minutes of being famous.
Well, yes, Andy Warhol said that in the 60s, that, sometime in the not too distant future, everybody's going to be famous for 15 minutes.
Right. The Traveler, I took it as, your way of talking about your touring life.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. It's exactly what that is. It's just, I have spent, I guess this would be my 45th year, 44th year touring as a touring musician. So, when I wrote that song, it was all about, just life on the road, going from town to town. Some places I've never been, some places I've been to a million times, and how it feels just being that kind of, traveling troubadour, going from place to place, playing music.
Yeah, no, I got that right away. I said I got to ask him about that one. I love 3, and I'm definitely pleased. I can't wait to get a copy of your new record and certainly play it. I mean, Mom, come on, 44 years as a touring musician. Do I really need a backup job?
Well, she's my mom.
I know. No, it's all good.
She gets a pass.
No, absolutely. God bless her.
She just turned 90 this year.
Yeah, wow. Beautiful. All right, so before we wrap things up, I did spot something else preparing for our chat. Was in September of 2015, you were involved with the legendary songwriter Paul Williams, my goodness, with this FacingAddiction.org concert headlined by Steven Tyler, Sheryl Crow, this sing-along voice of the change. Where did this all come from? Why was it so important for you to be a part of this pretty well documented the thing going on here? Celebrate Recovery.
Well, I'm in long-term recovery.
Okay.
I've been sober for 30 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And there was a good friend of mine, a guy by the name of Don Furtman, who works. He's one of the chief operating officers over at Subway. Was involved with the guy by the name of Greg Williams, who put the whole thing together, had this idea of a concert to raise awareness for long-term recovery in the United States. And this was back in 2013, or I think either 2013 or 2014. And so, of course, when it was brought to my attention, I said, "What can I do to help?" And Paul Williams was contacted because Paul's. I don't want to break anybody's anonymity, but Paul is also in long-term recovery, and he and I put our talents together, came up with a song that was the theme song for the day, and we went to Washington, had about 20,000 people on the lawn in front of the Washington Monument to celebrate long-term recovery in the United States and the fact that there is help out there for people who want it.
Good for you. Congratulations on your 30 years and great job with you and Paul and everybody involved. Boy, do we need this more now than ever with this whole opium thing and all this other garbage going on.
It's pretty horrible what's happening to the youth of America, and not only the youth, but but everyone. Addiction touches millions and millions of lives every day, whether directly or a family member, or someone, a loved one, or a friend. And the more that we can do to help people who have problems with substance abuse, the better off we'll be as a country and as a people.
Absolutely. Well, I'm all with you, my man. I love the idea, and I'm all 100% supportive of all of that. Kasim Sulton, Utopia returns to Daryl's house on Friday, October 6th. Obviously, your time in Utopia made an impact for you when you want to go on the road and showcase the wonderful music that you've created. How does one begin to create a set list for the large Utopia killer catalog of music?
It's actually not that difficult because what I do is I kind of concentrate on songs that might not have been played a whole bunch.
Okay.
So I like to go a little bit deep, and I also have to consider that people want to hear certain songs, and so it's not as difficult as it seems. I look at the amount of material that I have to pick from. I pick 19 songs, and there you go.
There you go. Anything else on your bucket list, Kasim, that I could help promote? I know we already talked about the new album. Anything else that a book, soundtrack? You're gonna do? You're gonna be probably back on the tour on the road with Todd right after the 16 shows, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, after my tour, I have a couple of weeks to myself, and then I go back out with Todd on his individualist A Wizard of True Star tour starting on May 1st. And that goes until the middle of June.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you at the Ridgefield Playhouse in Connecticut on May 27th and 28th. I got to see you guys in UPAC at the White Knight Tour up in Kingston about 2017, and that was great. That was a fantastic show. I encourage all the listeners to get your tickets today for the show at Daryl's. I know it's going to sell out. For listeners outside New York looking for a show near you, go to Kasim's website, KasimSulton.com, buy his album 3, check out his store, buy this Staten Island guy a t-shirt or maybe 2. Kasim, I thank you again for your time today and hope you enjoyed the chat as much as I have.
I had a great time talking, Patrick. Thank you so very, very much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Kasim Sulton today on WBXO. We are classic rock and we are redefined.